It has become quite fashionable amongst modern day historians to laud King James over his religious reforms, which by modern day ecumenical standards are considered and are incredibly progressive. But James was no progressive. James's religious legislation was designed to ensure the rapid manning of social, political, and military positions by Catholics before then using the prestige and power of his position as king to push for mass conversions amongst the population on the whole. Such an example had been set for James in France with the all-powerful autocratic Catholic King Louis XIV. So James, he turned out not to be progressive at all and actually was a bit of a creep who was desperately trying to convert everybody to Catholicism. He was the Russell Brand of the 17th century. King James is often considered a friend of the Gael because the first Jacobite rising in Scotland was very Highland in nature, and James was simultaneously leading a nationalist movement in Ireland. However, the Scots Jacobites, Irish nationalists, and James's own personal aims rarely aligned at all. James had, aside from his Catholic religion, every trait expected of the typical Anglo-Saxon 17th century British monarch of the time, and that included a distrust and a distaste of the Gael that was prevalent amongst all Stuart monarchs since the early 15th century. While in exile in France, James wrote instructions on kingship for his son and heir James Francis Edward Stuart. And in these instructions, he advises his son to try and not strike up a friendship and stay regularly at the home of a paedophile sex trafficking billionaire and then ask your ma to bail you out in an out-of-court settlement. James, in the instructions, praises the Highland clans for their loyalty, but he also talks of the dangers of Gaelic separation in Scotland and a need to eradicate the Gaelic language. He advises his son that native Irishmen should be restricted from the highest civil and military positions in Ireland. James, he loved Scotland and Ireland, but only if they were being controlled by England. He was like your average Scotland supporter at Murrayfield.